Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to give you an in-depth analysis of the book Good to Great: Why Some Companies Make the Leap, and Others Don't. I'm sure many of you have heard of this classic business bestseller. Although published over a decade ago, the issues explored in this book remain highly relevant today. How can a company transition from mediocrity to excellence? What is the secret behind this leap? The author is Jim Collins, a prominent management expert who used to teach at Stanford Business School and served in senior roles at many well-known companies. One of Collins' most famous theories is the 5 stages model of corporate life cycle. This book is the result of his 5-year research on the growth trajectories of hundreds of companies. With an unprecedented level of rigor and a unique perspective, the book gives us a glimpse into the secrets behind business success. Interestingly, Collins' original motivation was to debunk his own previous bestseller, Built to Last. In that book, Collins attributed the success of excellent companies to their grasp of the genetic code for survival and prosperity. However, one of Collins' friends harshly criticized him, arguing that the book was meaningless because most companies are mediocre to begin with. Without the so-called genetic code, wouldn't they be doomed to fail? Collins realized his theory would be incomplete if he couldn't advise these ordinary companies on how to make the leap from mediocrity to excellence. So he assembled a research team and spent 5 years identifying all the companies in the world that had evolved from good to great. They set 3 strict criteria. 1. These companies must have at least 30 years of operating history. 2. In the first 15 years, their stock returns must be less than or equal to market average, making them mediocre representatives. 3. But in the subsequent 15 years, their stock returns must exceed market average by at least 3 times. Such outstanding performance even exceeded that of many top companies at the time. After multiple rounds of screening, the research team finally identified 11 companies that met the criteria, having all made the leap from good to great. For comparison, they also found 11 companies from the same period that failed to transform successfully. Thanks to this rigorous methodology, we can now thoroughly analyze the secrets behind the success of those 11 companies. Next, I will share with you the key insights and thought-provoking ideas from this book. The book proposes that the 3 decisive factors for a company to evolve from good to great are leadership, strategy, and culture. They correspond to the Level 5 leadership model, the Hedgehog concept, and the Flywheel effect. Let's examine them one by one. 1. Level 5 leadership model. First, the Level 5 leadership model. Collins believes the most crucial factor determining a company's capacity for progression from good to great is its leadership. He categorizes leaders into 5 levels of capabilities. Level 1 consists of highly capable individual contributors who thrive at individual work but not at leading teams. Level 2 are team players. They are not only competent themselves but also contribute effectively to their teams. Level 3 are managers with organizational capabilities. They are skilled at efficiently allocating company resources and talent to achieve established goals. Level 4 are forceful leaders with compelling visions that can mobilize employees to fully commit to achieving those visions. Only Level 5 are true leaders in the full sense of the word. They possess 2 seemingly contradictory traits: deep humility on the one hand, and fierce resolve on the other. It is this combination of traits that constitutes outstanding leadership. Let's look at a typical Level 5 leader. Darwin Smith, the CEO of Kimberly-Clark, was an introverted, soft-spoken man with scholarly looks behind his black-framed glasses. But when the company was on the brink of bankruptcy, he fearlessly led its transformation from a small paper business into a global consumer products giant. During his tenure, he overcame cancer and skepticism from Wall Street investors, all the while remaining humble and placing the company's interests above personal glory. It was precisely because Kimberly-Clark had a Level 5 leader that it was able to make such a tremendous leap. Therefore, the presence or absence of Level 5 leadership is the most crucial factor in a company's capacity for progression from good to great. These leaders care about team building rather than personal authority. When encountering failures, they reflect on themselves instead of blaming others. If a company relies only temporarily on a level 4 leader's personal charisma and competence, it will still struggle to maintain greatness in the long run. 2. Hedgehog concept. For a company to advance from good to great, leadership alone is not enough, it also needs the right strategic concept for guidance. Regarding this, Collins proposed his hedgehog concept. The hedgehog analogy originated from an ancient Greek parable. The fox has many tricks up its sleeve, but the hedgehog only knows how to do one thing: curl up into a spiny ball. However, this single defense is undefeatable. Likewise, successful companies should also focus, like the hedgehog, on the one business they excel at and continue to improve at it. So how does one arrive at their hedgehog concept? Collins believes the key is to contemplate 3 questions. First, what are we deeply passionate about? In other words, where does the company's intrinsic passion lie? Second, what can we be the best in the world at? What are our core competencies and strengths? Third, how do we drive resource engine? How can we maximize return through focus in this space? The right hedgehog concept sits at the intersection of these 3 circles. It may seem simple, but in fact integrates deep understanding about oneself and the industry landscape. Take Walgreens for example. Its hedgehog concept is to be the most convenient drugstore. This is both its strength and passion, as well as the key to profitability. Having this straightforward, consistent concept has allowed Walgreens to progress smoothly. 3. Flywheel effect. The last question is, with the right people and strategy in place, where does the momentum come from? This relates to another theory Collins proposed: the flywheel effect. The metaphor comes from the momentum of massive flywheels. Imagine in front of you there is a wheel of 30 meters in diameter and 26 tons in weight. Your goal is to get it spinning rapidly. At first, despite your best efforts, you can only nudge the wheel to barely move. But with persistent pushing, the massive wheel slowly builds momentum, until after 100 and 200 rotations, it achieves great speed and power. The growth of companies works similarly. Great companies do not have a single turning point. Rather, through the combined effect of people and strategy, they do the right things persistently, gradually accumulating force until suddenly bursting forward at tremendous velocity. Take Amazon for instance. Since going public in 1997, it chose to focus on customer experience at the expense of profits, registering losses for over 10 consecutive years before eventually becoming the world's second most valuable company. Amazon exemplifies the typical flywheel company that experiences sudden momentum after long periods of effort. The flywheel effect tells us there is no silver bullet for success. Only by moving towards the right direction step by step can success ultimately become inevitable. In summary, through extensive case studies, this book From Good to Great reveals that for a company to embark on the journey from mediocrity to excellence, the 3 most crucial factors are: first, having level 5 leaders, outstanding entrepreneurs combining humility and resolve. Second, identifying the hedgehog concept, doing what they are deeply passionate about and best at. Third, igniting the flywheel, persisting in the right direction with discipline to achieve greatness. The book provides valuable insight. Neither enterprises nor individuals should be discouraged by current mediocrity. As long as they follow these principles and keep moving forward, the metamorphosis from good to great is sure to follow. Thank you for watching. See you next time.